Hello everyone, I'm Judy Satori. I'm a spiritual channel and energy healer, but I speak energy words of new creation, which are designed to activate human DNA potential at this very important time on the planet that we could describe as an ascension process, which is a evolutionary upgrade process for humanity. And I'm delighted today to introduce you to Dr. Sam Osmanagich from Bosnia-Herzegovina. He discovered the Bosnian Pyramids on the Visoko Plateau, I think 2009. And for the last 15 or so years has been really dedicatedly working with many people from around the world to help us all as people understand the legacy of the ancients who created this complex around 30,000 years ago or even more. And why? Why has this incredible legacy come to light at this time? I'd like you to meet Dr. Sam Osmanagich, and he will tell you about the Bosnian Pyramids and why he feels they're so important, not just to Bosnia, to the planet, but to the entire evolutionary upgrade of the human race, where we're all going as people, why we're here, where we come from, what our future might hold. Welcome. Welcome, Sam.
Now, since your last coming, we have had a lot of news when it comes to archaeology, science, energy, healing, and the cultural aspect. When it comes to the archaeology, this is what we have so far. After 2 decades, we have discovered a complex that consists of 6 pyramids, and you rightly said pyramids of the sun, moon, dragon, earth, love, and the 6th pyramid. No names so far. We have 2 tumuli. Tumulus in Vratnica, tumulus in archaeology is the conical artificial hill, and another one, smaller one in Guinea. And unlike the time when you were there, now we have total of 7 entrances to underground tunnels. Tunnel Ravne, where we cleared about 2.6 kilometers, but also Ravne 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the KTK tunnels. So we have confirmed that we have the most extensive underground tunnel network. So far, we have discovered entrances to 2 levels, and we suspect there are more, maybe 5, 6, or 7. So archaeologically speaking, this is huge discovery, because the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, and that's the news also, after we applied the state-of-the-art technology, which is called LiDAR technology, we have an exact size. This pyramid is 368 meters in height. Just a reminder, the Great Pyramid of Egypt, 146.5. So the Bosnian Pyramid is 2.5 times higher than the Great Pyramid of Egypt. So, archaeologically speaking, this is huge discovery. In the meantime, we've done more dating using 3 major methods. One is radiocarbon dating, and we have done a total of 28 dating of the organic materials. We've done luminescence analysis, and we've done uranium-thorium analysis. And they all point to 30,000 years back in time, which is, of course, history changing. And I'm very happy when I see some other discoveries, like, for example, our friend Dr. Danny Hillman, who discovered the Gunung Padang Pyramid in West Java, which is 27,000 years. So basically, this is pretty much the same time like the Bosnian pyramids. Now, that's archaeology. When it comes to the layout of the pyramids, and that's also news, we've been working on elements of sacred geometry because you know that the ancient builders were applying those elements. Why? Because when you have elements of sacred geometry, you have the energy movement. For example, the major elements of sacred geometry are equilateral triangle, hexagon, number pi, 3.14, number phi, or golden section, 1.618, and especially golden section or Fibonacci spiral. So, for example, in the case of Egyptian pyramids, the Great Pyramid of Egypt, we can see that they incorporated number pi, 3.14. How do we know that? The length at the base of the Great Pyramid is 200 and almost 31 meters. Two lengths, 460. 2 divided by height, 146. The result is 3.14. Or golden section, 1.618. And the spiral, which is based on golden section. In the case of Egyptian pyramids, when you start this spiral from the location of the king's chamber, and then you start with the spiral, on the line of the spiral, we have the bottom of the pyramid, the center of the height, middle of the height, and the very top of the pyramid, meaning that the king's chamber simply had to be there. The second spiral at the Giza Plateau is the one that starts from the one underground structure, which is assigned to King Tut. For some people, he was probably the builder of the Great Pyramids. So you start with the spiral, and on this spiral, we have all three pyramids. So we know about those two golden section spirals in the case of Egyptian pyramids. In the case of Bosnian pyramids, we have 7 golden section spirals. So, for example, the first one, you start from the top of the Pyramid of Love, and then you continue with the spiral. On the line of the spiral, we have top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, we have top of the Temple of Mother Earth, we have top of the Pyramid of the Dragon, and we have top of the Tumulus in Vratnica. Second one, we start from the mouth of 2 rivers, River Fonis and River Bosna. And then on this spiral, we have top of the Sun Pyramid, we have Ravne underground complex, the entrance, and top of the Tumulus. So I won't mention the other 5, but what I'm saying, ancients were very careful how they're going to lay out their structures. And what we cannot see with our eyes, but somebody was able to see that because they were creating these energy vortexes, energy movement. So this is about the energy. The next thing about our project is about, I mentioned dating. Now, in one of the tunnels, which we call the Ravne 3 tunnels, and we found the entrance in our park, Park Ravne 2, in the tunnels, we discovered stalagmites. Now, stalactites are those hanging from the ceiling. The water is dropping on the floor, and then from the floor, stalagmites start growing. Good thing about them is that you can determine the age of the stalagmites. Why is that important? Because it means that if you got the age, it means that the tunnel or the hollow space have been there for so long. So we've done very advanced dating. It is called uranium thorium analysis. The age of some of the stalagmites, over 20,000 years. And the radiocarbon age of the biggest stalagmite, 26,200 years. Of course, it takes some time for the surface to prepare so stalagmite can start growing. So again, we are going back to about 30,000 years. So you see how this dating is important because, as you know, what they teach us in schools is that the first advanced civilization was Sumer, 5,000-6,000 years back, and then Babylon, Akkad, Assyria, Hittite, ancient Egypt, ancient China, and India. As a matter of fact, this is just the last cycle of humanity. Before this one, there was, yes.
Yeah, I quite agree. And what really fascinated me when I came to Bosnia was the fact that you had found a fossilized leaf embedded in stone in the Pyramid of the Sun, which is over 30,000 years old, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So on the Pyramid of the Sun, 1 meter below the soil, we discover blocks. We have analyzed. They are artificially made concrete blocks. Not 1 layer, but 4 layers. And between the final layer and the one below, we discovered fossilized leaves. How did they get there? Obviously, the builders were pouring the concrete, the first layer, the second, the third. The wind was blowing, bringing those leaves, and then they placed the final layer. But those leaves can give us exact date of the construction. When we did radiocarbon dating, we got 29,200 years, plus minus 400 years. Now, this is, Judy, what's called in science radiocarbon dating. In order to get the calibrated date or the calendar age, on such a vast age, you add about 14%. So the true age of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is 33,600 years. And now this is the history-changing fact. Now, when we think, well, who lived then? According to our archaeologists and historians, nobody, they are saying, is the era of the primitive cavemen. Of course, they were not capable of manipulating with the millions of tons of material. They did not know sacred geometry and stuff like that. However, we have to be careful with that because there are so many new discoveries all around the world that are telling us that the history of humanity is not linear. They are telling us 10, 20, 30,000 years back, we were primitive cavemen. Today we are the most advanced, the most intelligent, and the most beautiful. Well, we are not. It's simply the last cycle of humanity. Before this one, there was another one which ended 12,000 years back with the end of the last ice age and huge catastrophes. And another one, 18,000, and another one, 34,000, 54,000, 75,000. It's a cycle after cycle. Eventually, the science will have to accept those scientific arguments about the cyclical, development of humanity. So obviously, the Bosnian pyramids simply belong to one of the previous cycluses. Yeah. And when we think about artifacts, are there any artifacts that can confirm that? Well, I'm saying yes. In Torino, Italy, in Egyptian Museum, there is an artifact called Turin King List. It's a papyrus, which is 175 centimeters long, 45 centimeters wide, which lists all the rulers from ancient Egypt. 11 columns with the names and dates. 3 phases. The last phase is the era of sons of gods. And that's how Egyptian rulers called themselves. They did not call themselves pharaohs or kings. Sons of gods wanted to show to the people their divine origin. Among those sons of gods are, of course, the first dynasty ruler, second, third, fourth. In the fourth, we had Pharaoh Khufu or Khephren or Mykerinos. The 19th dynasty, Ramesses II, who lived 67 years. But these are humans as we know them. The phase before that was the phase of the demigods, and they would live 200 or even 300 years each. It is also called the era of Venerable Shemsu Hor. And the era before that is the era of gods, not the capital G, but the small g. And they would rule Egypt, according to this document, 1,000 years each. Well, if gods would live 1,000 years, it would probably mean that they did have skills and abilities to build pyramids, to shape, all these big obelisks, temples, and so on. So when the first gods came to Egypt, we know when. It is said that the gods descended from the kingdom of heaven to the kingdom of earth 43,000 years back. So they would rule 40,000, 30,000, 20,000 years back. So obviously, there was some very important movement on the planet. Am I saying that the advanced man existed forever? Of course not, but it seems to me that we did have episodes when you had advanced civilizations and Homo sapiens living side by side.
I agree. I totally agree. And one of the things that really interested me, because I bring through energy from 22 galaxies arranged in a diamond-shaped pattern. And when I looked at the Pyramid of the Sun, when I was over in Bosnia, I was fascinated by the fact that the number 22 is like there's 2,200 meters in each side of what is the equilateral triangle created by the sun, the moon, and the dragon. The Pyramid of the Sun is 220 meters high. The base length of each side is 440 meters. There's something very interesting in the symmetry there and how these now six pyramids are configured on the Bosnian plateau. And I'm sure that they were created by an ancient civilization. But I also feel they were created by this ancient civilization to be found when you found them, Sam, and to be brought to light now at this time on the planet, because this time on the planet is the beginning of another cycle for humanity, like a forward march for humanity, an evolutionary upgrade for humanity. And that's what I work with activating human DNA potential. And so these signs and symbols and pyramidal complexes on the planet that were created by the ancient people.
She's completely right. I mean, we've been living in the material reality for too long, and it is time for the new phase. People need to realize that besides the material world, we have also the energy aspect, the spiritual. We've been relying on our 5 physical senses for too long, and we have more than 5 senses. We have about 30 spiritual senses. And the Bosnian Pyramid project is showing that besides the constructions, which we have proved back in the period of 2005-2010, those structures are much more than just building pyramids. They are there to produce certain energy effects. And fortunately, we've been using many physicists and engineers in our project. So, for example, our 7th International Scientific Conference on Bosnian Pyramids, which was held back in September of 2024, we had 10 physicists, atomic and nuclear physicists, and engineers, electro engineers, sound engineers, telecommunication engineers, people who have been measuring. And going on the Sun Pyramid, what we were doing the measurements at the base of the pyramid, and then we were climbing up. As we were going up, the energy was getting stronger and stronger, being the strongest at the very top. And at the top, we also have another phenomena, namely, we have energy beam, which has 4.5 meter radius, and it is electrical and ultrasound in nature. The good thing is that we can measure it. If it is measurable, you can scientifically prove that. And the frequency of this beam is 28 kilohertz. Now, that's a very important fact, because our genius mind of Nikola Tesla, 125 years back, in his famous Wardenclyffe Tower, he was generating the same frequency of 28 kilohertz. And he stated that this is ideal frequency for the energy transportation and for the transportation of the information. So basically, he built tower, which was the communication device. So in our case, what we can see, we have this energy beam, 28 kilohertz, which is getting stronger as it moves away from the pyramid. And in the science, this phenomenon is called the scalar waves. So, scalar waves, according to Tesla and Russian physicists and their work in the last 50 years, they travel quicker than the speed of light. So, our conclusion number 1, the first purpose of pyramids is to be the communication device. Number 2, we have noticed that many people who visit the tunnel, they feel good. People with high blood pressure, high sugar, it gets normalized. People with the pains are gone. People with the very serious diseases, we can see revolutionary change in their health. So our conclusion number 2 is the second purpose of pyramid energy is the health protection. Number 3, we are finding water in the tunnels, and when we analyze the water, comparing it to our city water, this water is so superior. It has beautiful hexagonal structure, does not have any microbes, no viruses, no bacteria, no fungi. It has perfect pH, which is 7.45, as pH of our blood. So we have what we drink, and the water from the pyramid is showing that it is with a improved molecular structure. So the third conclusion, pyramid energy is something that improves our most important liquid in our life. Number 4, pyramid energy improves the food. Number 5, pyramid energy improves our immunity. Number 6, pyramid energy improves our spiritual senses. So shortly, discovery of the Bosnian Pyramid revolutionary changed the narrative about the pyramids.
When I spoke about Bosnia in 2026, do you feel that there's energy getting stronger there?
Well, it's definitely getting stronger. And a matter of fact, Judy, maybe you have not heard that. Back in September, a few months ago, we had our 7th International Scientific Conference on Bosnian Pyramids. And I had 10 participants, and they were all physicists and engineers. Quantum physicists, atomic physicists, electrical engineers, sound engineers, telecommunication engineers, people with the instruments.
Yes.
So what we were doing, we were starting at the base of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, climbing and doing measurements as we climb up the pyramid. And the energy was getting stronger as we were going higher, and the strongest one was at the top.
Because I feel really excited about that, because that's what I really took most out of when I was there in 2019, the fact that the energy is getting stronger as you go away from the apex. So that would infer to me that there's energy coming down. And I feel that that energy coming down is getting stronger. And I feel it's going to get to a peak next year. And I'd love to be there and tell everybody why. If you have a conference.
You will be welcome. You will be welcome. Great.
Yeah, I'll come.
So yeah, we always try to combine, energy aspect with the science. And I think we are the first one in the world who actually do that. Nobody do that in Egypt, Mexico, China, and Peru, but we do that. And the problem with those sites around the planet is that archaeologists jealously guard those sites. They need to open up, to the physicists, geophysicists, engineers, spiritual scientists. They need to open up, medical doctors. They need to figure out the true purpose of pyramids. And this is why we are the most open project in the world. So people, can come in and the energy aspect important, healing aspects. We have more and more healing testimonials, meaning the energy is getting stronger. So yeah, we are very happy with what we've done.
Have you excavated the Maramuta tunnel further?
That was
the strongest Bovis level, and I sat in that quite a lot.
Yes, it is. And as a matter of fact, most of the time in that section of the tunnels, we have the highest concentration of the beneficial negative ions. So yeah, we have about 500 meters going that way, but we have also some others. So far, we have total of 3.5 kilometers that we cleared and, protected for the visits. So it's a lot. I mean, I know when, in Mexico, they discovered 50 meters of prehistorical tunnels. This is the world sensation. We have 3.5 kilometers under the ground.
That's huge.
So it's a huge. Yes.
That's really huge. Yeah. Have you got underneath the pyramid yet of the sun?
No, not yet. Not yet. No. Oh, we are going towards the pyramid.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
When I was there in 2007, first time.
Yes.
It was such a short tunnel, and I remember just a few benches to sit And now I came back and it's just, wow.
It's
So spread out, such a work. I mean, bucket by bucket by bucket. That's what I see when I go in there. And all the support and everything, it's really amazing work.
Yes.
But if I may add what you said about you feel energy is getting stronger. I felt similar, and then the great confirmation was when this year they measured record levels of negative ions, which is like, it went like, woo, like in a peak. And I think that's...
Yeah, the reason why, Tara, the more tunnels that we open, the energy is flowing. And since it is a labyrinth, moving this way in the labyrinth, the energy is getting stronger. And we know through the Feng Shui or Feng Shui from China that if you have a straight line, there is no energy movement. But if you have this, you have energy vortexes. And since we mentioned this, Judy, back in 2017, 18, 19, the levels of negative ions were in the range from 20 to 60,000 negative ions per cubic centimeter, which is still excellent. The reason why the forests, pine tree forests on the top of the mountains, 1,000.
Yeah.
Cities, 100. Our homes, 20, 30. So 20 to 60,000 is 50 times healthier than, on the top of the mountain. And the last February, we measured 340,000 negative ions per cubic centimeter, which is by far highest on the planet. So far we thought that Niagara Falls with 100,000 is the highest on the planet, but we measured in Bosnia 340,000. Why the negative ions are so important? Because they affect 42 different functions in our body. I mean, this is what the students of physiology, this is what they teach at the classes at the Faculty of Medicine. I mean, from blood sugar and pains and tumors and fatigue and anxiety and this and that. So, I mean, this is science. More negative ions, better for us. And we can measure it. So it's so simple.
Yeah. Do you get people coming to sit in the tunnels for the healing effects now?
Well, during the winter time, 70% of my visitors, they're here for the therapies. People come for 10, 15 days. They enter the tunnel twice a day, 45 minutes each. In the meantime, they go to the park, and then they eat something lightly, and then they go back to the tunnels. So, and they prefer to come during the winter time because it's less crowded and the concentration of negative ions is higher during the winter. During the winter, more than 100,000. Summer, 20 to 60,000, which is still excellent. So, a lot of people come for that. And of course, not all of them talk about it. Sometimes people don't like to talk about, them being sick or whatever. But I'm glad that it helps. I know, well, that's, again, another thing. We've done so much progress in the park.
Yeah.
Right now, we have 65 different installations, and among them, we build a lecture room, like the movie theater, which is covered, but no sides because it is outside, with a couple of hundred seats, with a huge TV, and this is where we do our conferences. This is where we do, our movie presentations and stuff like that, lectures, book promotions. So we've added a lot of features in the park.
Okay, that's wonderful. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Have you been to Australia before?
Yes, I think it was 2018, 2019, yeah. The same year when you were here.
Have you been to New Zealand, Sam?
No, not yet.
Oh, well.
It's on my list.
Yeah. Oh, well, if you want to come here, I'll help you get the word out and tell you where to go.
Okay.
Help you.
Well, I might be coming back to Australia. There is a conference in Uluru conference. And maybe I could combine it with New Zealand, since I've been there most probably in December.
I'm going to be speaking at that conference too, because I was just there
You are.
in December.
Oh, yeah.
I was there at Uluru. But I don't think they're
Actually,
going to hold it at Uluru. They're going to be holding it at another place, I think.
oh, I
Oh,
see.
Yeah, at I think Tambourine Valley, but we'll see. Yeah,
I
so
see. Well, Uluru was excellent experience. I was there last time and I really enjoyed it.
it's
And,
fabulous. I
a lot
agree.
of flies though, but the monolith is something. It is something. It is no wonder it is sacred, and every part is so important. Every part has different energy,
Yes.
education, spirituality. I mean, that was amazing. Lots
Yes.
to learn from how the Aborigines, were using it, and
Yes.
so yeah, that was special, occasion for me.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, it's very nice to see you again. I'm down here.
Yes, likewise.
And I
Okay,
look
we'll
forward.
stay in touch. Yes, thank you for your support.
You're
And
welcome.
maybe I'll see you this December.
Yes, you probably will, I think.